Hi and welcome to Rank Management System developed using object-oriented technique in Visual Basic. Okay, let me show you guys how this works. We can always reset, or maybe click on exit, no, and click on reset there. Let's enter data in there. Let's say it's RT, that's for the rent, and say RTE. Okay, now the name is, let's go for Tommy Larry, and the address is that, let's call that Goodman Close, postcode town London, form of identification, let's say student ID, and down payment and deposited, that's what was deposited, and we're talking of flats too, and we now need the cost per month. Right, now location, that's London, electricity, local tax, and water, and click on confirm there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you guys straight into Visual Basic development environment, and we put one of these object-oriented program together. So let's do that now, guys. Hi and welcome to Visual Basic object-oriented tutorial of a rental management system. I'm going to start by clicking on create new. Now the project dialog box is ready. I'm going to give this project a name. I'll call it VB_OO_rental system. There we go, and click on OK. Okay, now that the form is ready, I'm going to enhance the size of this form. Let's make it 1386 by, let's go for 800. And right here in the form, I'm going to enter as follows. That's rent management system. Then the next thing I'd like to do is let's come straight to the start position, get it centered, and that's all for the form. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do now is let me go straight to the project, because this is going to be an object-oriented tutorial. Let's click on add class, and right in there, the first class I'd like to create, I'm going to call that C rental, and just click on add. So that is my class created. Okay, since that is have a C rental, maybe let's create another class. I'm just going to call that, I'm going to call the second class, I'm going to call it C customer, because I really do need one of those. Right, that's my second class. Now for the C rental, that's to do with the properties. So let's go for the following. So I'm going to say private properties. Now that's meant to be something like flat. Let's say flat as integer there. And what else do we have? Let's say we have another one, private house as, let's just say that one is going to be string. House can also be 2-bedroom house, 1-bedroom house as well, so I might as well just make that integer. And now what about private location of the property? Location as string. Right, so I may have to add other data member for the rental property because I don't know much about real estate. So let's go straight into the customer. So as for the customer, I can always have private customer and so on. So let me just copy all of this, dump it in. So I'm going to paste that in there. So let's call this customer ID. Let's make that string. And what else do we have of the customer? So in this case, customer, let's go for, okay, let's just say first name. Customer's first name string as well. Then we have customer surname. Right. What else can we have of the customer? This customer might have an address and proof. Let's go for maybe, okay, postcode, and what else? The town, and here proof of ID. Right. Now we have all of the information we required from the customer and the rental, but all of these data type are all private. So for us to be able to gain access into it, the first thing I like to do is let me take care of this rental first. So I'm just going to come right down here. The choice is yours. You can always say private or public. Public sub, and let's call that set flat, and let's go for by value as integer. There, and let's say and sub. Right, that is one. So the choice is yours, and in there we all just need to do is customer ID equals flat equals value equals value. Now to retrieve this data, we need to be able to gain access into it. So I'm going to use public function. So in this case, it's going to be get flat. Okay, enter parentheses in there, press enter, and right in there is going to be return flat. So you can do it like that. The choice is yours. Or there's another way out with the Visual Basic built-in function. I'm going to use this data member as well. The other method is I can always say public. So let's call that. Let's call the property public properties, and that property I'm going to call it C flat, and that is going to be as integer. Right, and in here, instead of this very method here, I'm just going to enter set and press enter. There we go. So all we just need to do is copy all of this information in here. That is for flat equals value, and return is that. So the choice is yours between this very method or this very method. So we have two different ways of taking care of that. So I'm going to delete that, the one right at the top. Have a good look at it before it's deleted. Okay, so now let's delete that. I'm going to settle for this. Now the next thing we want to do is repeat exactly the same thing for the other data type up there. I'm just going to copy that, paste that, and change it around. That's going to be see a house. See house, and this become house. This is house as well. Okay, now let's go for the third one. Paste, and right here, that's location of the property. Copy and change this to C location. And there, that's taken care of. So the class of the rental is all taken care of. Have a good look at it before I collapse it. Right, so I'm now going to just collapse it all so that we can take care of that of the customer. So customer coming right there, change that. Oh, let's copy that in here. Just copy anything here so that we can use that to speed up that of the customer. I believe you all get the whole idea now. So the first one is going to be C, customer ID, and this is string. And let's change this to customer ID. Customer ID there, and this is string as well. Right, that's taken care of. But one thing first, let me just check this and make sure it's all right. Location is meant to be string, so let's change that. That's a problem when you copy, you have to be careful. Location here is string as well. Right, so hopefully I've taken care of that. Now that's customer taken care of, customer ID. Now let's go for first name. Copy that, paste first name, repeat exactly the same thing. First name is string. Right, so I'm going to repeat the same thing for the surname and so on. Okay guys, I have completed that of the customer. Let me just show it to you guys. That's how it looks like now. So those are the methods that we will use for to be able to enhance those data members. Okay, there we go. That's it, all done. But there's one more thing. Let's come into this very first one. Now I'm going to have to declare another data member in there, and I'm going to call that data member cost, because at one point you're going to have to pay something. So the cost of flat or the cost of, okay, cost of flat or cost of a house. So I'm just going to copy all of this and just change it around. So that's the third one. So let's come right down here and just paste those in there just for cost. So let's copy just one. And change that to cost. Cost of renting a house, or right. So that is that done. But the other thing I like to do now is I'm going to create another class. So this other class, I'm going to call that utility. Let's come in here and just let's collapse all of this. Right underneath here, we create another class. We call it CUT. There it is. Okay, that's my other class. So the utility I may have, let's say, let's call that local tax. Okay, we have, that's supposed to be L. We have local tax as double. Then let's say we have water as double as well, and what else? And the next utility bill is going to be, let's see, electricity as double. Okay, there's one more thing I left out here. You see right in here, I think I was meant to enter room number. Let's say private room number, or number of rooms. I'm sorry about this because I don't have any experience dealing with real estate. I'm just making this up. So that's number of rooms. So in the case of number of rooms, let's go for another. Let's create something for number of rooms. Just paste that in there and change this to number of rooms. Number of rooms, and there we have number of rooms. Let me copy that. So come right down here, change all of this value to number of rooms there, and right here as well. Okay, so guys, you can have a good look at all of these classes that I've created. That is for the rental. In the rental I have 5 data member, and there they all are. Okay, that is for the. Now let's have a look at the customer. Right in here, that's for the customer. I think I have about 7 data member with a customer. And finally, the utility. Okay, let's take care of the utility method as well. So I'm just going to copy this utility. I think utility is all mostly double anyway, so come right in here. Let's collapse this. Now paste that in there. It's double anyway, so let's change that to double. And the first one is going to be that of the local tax. Paste and paste, and change this to double as well. Right, local tax here. Get rid of that. So as the first one, I'm just going to copy that and change the other ones around. And the next one is going to be for water bill. Let's just water bill or water rate. Let's just call it water bill. Right. Now that becomes water bill here, and this as well. Okay, the next one is the electricity bill. Right, and just copy electricity and change it around. And there we go. That's it. So now what I'm going to do is, before I continue, I'm going to create what is known as aggregation. So this is done. Now let's collapse that as well. So we have, in total I just have 3 different classes here. You guys can add more. Alright, before I create this aggregation, I think I'm going to have to add 2 more details in here. That's going to be because it's likely the customer might be able to pay some deposit. So let's say that is the deposit can be double, and that will be the deposit. And what about down payments? We can also have down payment, right? So that's going to be double as well. And there, hopefully I will not carry out any more changes to these customers details anymore. Now that we have the customers details for deposit and down payment, okay, so let me just copy this and change things around. So this is going to be C deposit, right, and this will be deposit, and let's change in here to double. Okay, this is double as well, and this is deposit, right? And one more, and hopefully we wouldn't have to carry out any more changes here. So the next one is going to be down payment, because I believe anywhere you go to rented properties you have to put something down, which is the deposit, and if you have some money you can pay, you can always do that as well. So let's move this down so that the arrangement is consistent. So let's come in here and just paste that there. Right, that will be the customer taken care of. So now let's collapse that for the customer, and let's collapse that of utility bills as well. I cannot think of any other utility bills that needs to be paid. But right here now I'm going to now create, let's say, public class. I'm going to call that billing cost, or cost of bill. Okay, billing cost, that's fine. Now in there, let's go for public I customer as new customer, C customer. There, that is 1. So this is called aggregation because I'm actually creating objects that represent the content I have up there, that represent each class. Rental, and this is going to be known as iRental. Then this one is going to be C utility, utilities there, and let's change this one to I utility. So in here, in this very method, I will now enter as follows. Let's say public, create a method that will carry out the calculation. Let's say override, overrideable, I think is this one, yeah, function, and it's going to be known as total bill. Now inside this function, let's ask it to return the following. The first one is going to be what? Let's say customer, let's say C customer dot, I think we have deposit. The deposit, we don't have to take that off, maybe for the first one. Then see customer again. No, undo that. Let's copy see customer. See customer dot, that will be down payment. Right. So now that we have that, let's add, we need to add the utilities. What about rent? Let's go for rent first. Rent. And let's see, what do we have inside rental? Inside rental we have, okay, that's going to be number of rooms. Number of rooms multiplied by cost. Cost should be double. Cost is double, so that means we have to change this to double as well. And this will be double as well. Okay guys, sorry about that. Suppose you guys are able to follow along. Alright, cost is double, number of room multiplied by cost. Okay, now let's come down here. Rental dot cost multiplied by rental dot number of rooms. So these two, let's group them together. There. So that is taken care of. And now utilities, we have three different types there: the tax, water bill, and electricity. So plus utility, utility dot electricity, or see local tax plus utility dot electricity plus utility dot seawater. There. Maybe we should just break that apart. Now that is it. That's the method that calculates everything for us. So guys, I'm going to call it the end of this first part of this tutorial, but just before I go, let me show you. Here are the classes. This is the very first one. So you need to create something to do with the rent and have a good look at it, and come right down. Okay, so because the rent is private, we need to be able to modify it one way or the other. That's why we have this. Okay, if this was public, I would have leave it like that, just carry out the calculation. Okay, that's the class for the rent. Now the next class is that of the customer. That's the customer class. Okay, so let's take it down so that you guys can see the rest. This is part of the class customer's data type. Right. And there. So the next one is the utility. We have the utility. That's it. And that's all there is to it for the utility. And finally, we have where we calculate the cost of everything using aggregation, just grouping together all of the classes and calling them in here. Now the next thing is, let me grab a panel, just dump it right there. I'm going to need a couple of those. First thing first, let's change the property of this very panel to, let's make the border fixed 3D. Right, and just copy it across. Come in here and need one here. Then I think I'm going to need about 3 here. Alright, I'm going to sort of like speed up the arrangement of this panel so that doesn't take too much time. Okay, this is how the interface looks now, but what I intend to do is, let me add labels here, and I'm going to need about maybe 9 of those, if not more. And I'm also going to need some other component. These labels are just to act as labels really. Okay, so let's add, according to this, let's come in here. That's meant to be for customer. I have about here 9, and I'm going to need something here. Okay, now let's look at this one, the rent. We have 5 items, and in the case of the last one here, let's see how many items we have in there. We have 3, so let's come in here. We're going to need 5 of those. Okay, copy 5 there, and I need 3 here. 3, and I also need maybe 1 each for the title of both. Right. Okay, in here I'm going to need something to do with, that's for the bills. We have to enter bills, and here we need something to determine what option. Okay, we have flat and so on, so let's use a checkbox here, or radio button. Is there any chance? No, let's just use radio button, not a checkbox. Scroll right down. Need 3 of those. Okay, so the rest is likely going to be number of rooms and location. Okay, for number of rooms and location, let's use number up and down. Number up, down. That's 1. The next one, location, we can always use combo box. Alright. Okay, in the case of customer, let's see. For customer, we're going to need here input. Alright. We need text box there. We need 9 of those. Back in there. Okay, and this we need 3 as well. Alright guys, so I'm going to speed up the design of the whole interface, and here let's grab a rich text box as our receipt, because the customer will definitely need a receipt. Right, rich text box there, and we need some buttons. We need 3 of those. 1, 2, and 3. So if I run it, this is how the whole system looks like, but it does need to be taken care of so that it looks much presentable than this. So I'm going to speed up the modification of the whole interface, and I'll get back to you guys. Okay guys, this is how the interface is looking now, but I still have some work to do with it. Okay, so let's come here and just change this to first name, and we have surname here. Okay, let's see what else do we have in the customer. We have address, postcode, and time. So So let's go for address, postcode, we have town, and let's see where do we have. Okay, here we have proof of address, deposit, and so on. Proof of address, a proof of ID. And we have that. Make that uppercase. And finally, I think for customer we have down payment. So there. Okay, so that is how that's going to look like. Now I'm going to have to rearrange that, and I'll get back to you guys once I complete all of the design of the interface. Okay guys, this is how the interface looks now. If I run it, this is what you guys will see. Well, this is how the system looks right now, and nothing seems to be happening. Okay, so let's try and enter some codes in there. But first of all, let's change the default value of these two. I'm going to change that to 1 there, and then double click on the form, and right here underneath the public class form 1, I'm going to declare a billing, iBilling, as new billing course. So that's the object I intend to use to call all of the functionalities that I have in here, all of the calculations and so on, if you guys can still remember in the class. So let's go back in there, and here on my confirm button, double click on that. Right in here I'm going to enter billing dot iCustomer dot C. Okay, let's go for C deposit equals by value txt deposit, yeah, dot text. So that is the first one. Now let's create another one, another billing dot iCustomer. So the next one is going to be the money paid down, or down payment is called. So C down payment equals by value txt down payment. Try that again. Txt down payment dot text. Right. Okay, let's take care of the utility. So billing dot iUtility dot C electricity equals by value txt electricity dot text. There. Now billing dot iUtility again dot, let that be local tax equals by value txt local tax dot text. So I'm going to repeat the same thing for the others. Let's just speed that up. Right, that's everything there, all of the lines of codes. Now the next thing is, let me go for total. I think it's called total payment, something like that. Total payment dot text equals, let's get it formatted, format currency. So it's going to be billing dot total bill. There, that's all there is to it. So if I run it and give that a try, let's see how it's going to look like. Okay, the default value is 1, supposing it's just one room, and for one room let's go for in a month maybe 1,200 plus. And in here, down payments, let's assume that's a down payment. Pause it. Electricity bill, the tax, and water bill, monthly water bill, £50, and click on that. There we go. So in total you paying 2,000 plus, right? So that is taken care of. Now all that is left for us to do now is add different locations in here, form of ID and the receipt, reset and exit. Okay, so the main ones are taken care of anyway. First thing first, let me try and take care of the resets. Let's double click on the reset. Inside the reset, what I'm going to do is, let's use a for loop for each txt in, I think it's panel. I have panel 3 dot controls dot off. It's error here. That should be each. Okay. Dot off. That'll be of type of text box. This is meant to be each, right? Okay, text box, that will be txt the text equals clear. So that is for panel 3. I need to repeat the same thing for the other two panels. So this is 4 and 5. So that's my reset, 4 and 5. In the case of the room dot value, I'm going to change that. No, dot value, I'm going to change that to equals 1. Right. So if let's just run it and see how it's going to look like. Okay guys, so let's change the value in here. Just enter something there, just to be sure that it's working. The only one that won't do anything for now is this and this and these ones. The rest should actually do something. Let's try these ones and see. There we go. Just like I said, just these 3. Alright, for those 3, let's come down here, and that's rt receipt dot clear. There. Then this one is called proof of ID and location. Let's see if they both have a name. No name there. No name for the location, so that's going to be CNB location. Right. And this one, let's copy that. What's the name of this one? Does this one have a name? Yeah, that has a name. So back inside my code here, so there, dot text equals clear, and the other one is CMB proof ID dot text equals clear, that as well. There we go. Now let's try that out again. Enter some data in here, enter whatever here, and just try that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that is working. Now let's take care of the exit. Okay, for the exit, I'm going to double click on exit, and right here, okay, let's do something. You see, this whole form that you're seeing is a class. And when you look here, you can see public class form 1, so I can always collapse that. That is the entire form collapsed. So which means we can even create another class here, just like we did in, or just like we've done right in here. So I'm going to come straight into the form itself, class form. I'll collapse that so that you guys can see what I'm going to do. So right underneath here, let's create public class. Let's say system exit. So that's my new class. This class, I intend to use it to exit the system. So right in there, let's go for public shared function, and the shared function name is going to be exit system. And right in there, I might as well declare my variable dim I exit as dialog result. I exit itself equals message box dot show, and that's gonna be, let's assume, let's just enter confirm if you want to exit, and right in here, comma, enter the name of the system, rental system, and come out here. Let's use VB dialog or VB function dot yes no. I know a Visual Basic function, which is I'm going to use message box icon dot, I'm going to go for exclamation there. You can go for any other one. You can use information, question. It's more or less question though, but I just want to prove to you that you can use any one you want. Okay, let's set it for question. Now using the if statement, if I exit equals dialog results dot yes, then application dot exit. There. Okay, that's my class, exit class created. You don't have to, but since it's an object oriented, I just want to prove to you guys that you can also create a class right underneath the public class form 1 there. So that's the public class form 1, and here is that's my new class for exit. So all I then need to do is double click on exit right here, double click on exit. Right inside exit, all we need to enter is system, I think it's called system exit dot exit system. That's all. So the exit is taken care of. The whole idea is just to prove to you that you can create a class right underneath public class form 1. Now run the system and let's try it out. There we go. No. Yes, I want to exit. You see that works as well. Now I think the last one is going to be this very one. No, these two. 1, 2. So location and the other one. So double click on the form, and inside there let's just say cmd location dot, I think items dot add. So what location? So I don't know, I'm just gonna make that up. Maybe let's make up some location. London. That's the first location for your property. Let's make up another one. I think this slow. Let's go for Dallas. So the next location, let me just call that, I'm going to go for Nairobi. Right, now let's go for the next one. Let's call that a tower, and add Abuja as well. Yeah, so let's enter more, maybe one or two more. And this, let's go for Accra. Well, to my viewers out there, if your country's details is not there, I'm sorry, because this will take forever. It's just to say thank you to you all. I think maybe I should end one more. Let's go for maybe New Delhi. Yeah, New Delhi. And there. Right, so that is for my, yeah, that's for the location. Then the other one is going to be CMD, I think it's called dot items dot add. I want the first item I'm going to add is going to be passport. Oh, no, sport. Right. Get rid of this. Right, passport. Then any other thing. Okay, let's go for pilot license. And what other form of identification? Driving license. Yeah, any other form of identification that we can think of. Let's see, student ID. Student ID, that's it. So if I run the system now, this is how the whole system will look like. Passport, and let's say we have two there, and that happens to be, let's go for Tower Canada, maybe flat, and enter the details in the ID. Reference details. Name, let's go for Peter. Peter's, okay, whatever, strong. Address, let's say Stoneman Road. Now give it a number with 4 and postcode 807. Town, that's a tower anyway. I just made that up. And down payment, deposit, electricity bill, local tax rate, water bill, and the cost. Let's say the cost is that, and click on total. That's what you pay in a month. Okay, so renting for the very first time, that's what you have to pay. Now the only bit that is left is when I click on this, I expect the receipts to be printed. So let's take care of the receipt. Now we come inside total here, or confirm payment right underneath here. I'm going to enter RT receipts, RT dot append tags, and the very first one is going to be, let's enter rent management system. That's the very first one, and I'll enter VB new line there, plus VB new line. That will give me a new line. Now let's enter customers details, or maybe draw a line. Let's draw a line. Why not? Well, we can even say plus and just draw the line here. Right, that is the line, and right here we say plus VB new line. There we go. So that's done. The next one, let's enter customers details here. I'm going to copy all of this, paste that, and close that. Here is going to be customer ID. Customer ID, and right here, let's say we have plus, and we just need to enter txt customer ID dot text. Let's add a space between that, so that's going to be VB tab. Right, so that is it. So I'm going to have to speed it up, but before I do that, let me show you guys. Let me just copy and paste one or two stuff. So that's going to be for first name, and here is going to be address, and let's change this to address, and this is going to be first name. Right, now let's add another one here. Let's say VB tab plus, that would be surname. Surname, and maybe get rid of this tab, just add a space there, one space there. Now surname plus txe surname dot text there. So that should take care of first name and surname on the same line. But this tab should go, actually, because we just want the details of first name and surname. Now we can add a tab here. No, there's no point. So we go to next line. Alright, that's fine. There should be a tab here, really. There's one tab there. And there should be another tab here, really. Yeah, that's right. First name, there should be a tab here too. Okay, so let's run this and see how it looks like, then we can then speed it up. Okay, name, that will be Paul. No, Paul 00 whatever. Name, that's Paul, and surname. Address, let's see, Isa. Number 1, Isa Ewu. Right. Postcode 1EE, and that is, let's say, town is going to be Echo. Cost, that is the cost, and let's select Abuja to represent Nigeria there. Now electricity, council tax, water bill, deposit there, total. You see that, guys? So that's how it all looks like. Oh, this has to go. There should be a space in there. First name and surname. Okay, so I will now speed that up now that you guys get the whole idea. I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done. Okay guys, this is how the receipt looks like now. there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the program right now. So run, and let's give that a try. So rent, as the rent number, and the name is, let's say, Sammy. Surname is Davis, an address 23 Johnny Way, and the postcode is H whatever, and the town, let's see the location, and the location happens to be Onslow. Pilot license. Down payment, that's the down payment, and the deposit. Now the cost of accommodation per, let's say, per month. Water bill, council, local tax, and water bill here, electricity bill, and so on. So click on confirm. There we go. There, guys. So with that, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoyed. You all have a nice day now, and bye for now.